All right, Healthcare Direct USA, the new social media website, and we are doing interviews with people around the country, meeting new companies, and basically networking to get people to know everybody in the industry on more of a personal level. And I am super happy and lucky to be hanging out with Mr. John Taylor, a hard man to catch up to.
Yes.
But I have tracked you down in this 70,000 square foot warehouse and got you in the conference room.
It's hot certain days too, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So John, you've been at Biomed for how long?
Almost 27 years.
27 years, and you've got some great stories and some great background like all Biomeds do, and we're going to get to that. But the first thing I want you to just share with us is just kind of your background, how you got into the industry, what got you started, and kind of where, some of your first jobs in that led.
Okay, cool. Well, I was in the Navy for 4 years. At 17, I left home, joined the Navy, wanted to, travel the world. And like most young guys, I want to leave Jersey. I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy. So, I definitely wanted to leave New Jersey and go travel like Japan or Italy, one of those things. So I joined the Navy, got to fly in helicopters. So I was one of those special guys that passed a bunch of tests and got into that there, and I was doing electronics. So I went to school for electronics, got out of the Navy, decided to go into healthcare. I didn't want to be a doctor, loved the hospital because my mom was a nurse. I used to stay at night at the hospital because my mom worked a night shift from 3 to 12. And I would sit downstairs in the lounge, and I met these guys that would fix equipment all the time, working night shift in Philadelphia, at Penn University. And I used to watch these guys fix, and they're like, hey, you want to come with me? And back then, you could just, walk around the hospital. It wasn't no big deal. Nowadays, it can't be done. So, I got to see these guys fix stuff, and I remember getting out of Navy, so I want to go back to school and do something exciting, different than the normal. So I went to school, one of the local schools, ECPI, College of Technology here, through their biomedical engineering program, which was awesome. So I got a 2-year degree program there. I got an internship with iMedical right out of school here at one of the largest healthcare systems in the country, Centera Health System. I got a job at Norfolk General, their main, flagship hospital. Has 32 OR rooms, 40 recovery.
32 operating rooms?
Yeah, 32 operating rooms, 12 endoscopy rooms. Very big hospital. It's a 650-bed hospital. So I worked there for a couple of years, and I got very lucky as a biomed intern. They decided to hire somebody, and I happened to be the one guy there doing an internship. And they never took an intern. It was the first time they ever took an internship. And I was actually one of the first GE Biomed core. Most people don't know that, but before they bought National MD, if people know that far back, GE had 5 biomeds, and I was one of them. So when I would call up corporate GE, and I'd say, hey, I'm here to order some parts, and they would look at me, they're like, who are you? I'm like, John. They're like, well, we don't have biomeds. I'm like, yeah, you do. You have 5 of them in the company. So I was very lucky to be part of the first 5 core GE biomeds back in the early 90s before they purchased National MD. So, and I worked at Norfolk General there for many years. I got lucky to work in the operating room. Good friend of mine took me underneath his wing and got to work for 7 years in the operating room. Operating room was very fast paced, 30 rooms. I was very green, but I had military background, very regimented, very set in my ways to do things like that there. So I really enjoyed it. And but I have some great stories. Worked for GE Core, then I worked for Airmark, then I worked for Bon Secours Health System, which is now Mercy Healthcare. And I worked for Olympus Endoscopy. So I've had quite a bit of biomed experience in the last 27 years. And then I started my company back in 2003. So for that many years, I've been doing biomed, and really that's all I know, biomed.
So with the biomed stuff now, when you first got going, you specialized and did a lot of stuff in the OR.
Yeah.
And dude, I know some stories, but I need you to share some of those so tell us how you got into the OR, kind of what that was like, and then we can get into some of the stories.
The OR Biomed, like I said, there was a lady that was a nurse, probably one of the smartest biomeds I ever met. She was a nurse first, and she became a biomedical engineer. And she held the position at Norfolk General with another guy named Wade Adams. So unfortunately, she was diagnosed with brain cancer. So they brought me in to kind of like support her and help her. So she eventually passed away. She was an awesome woman, taught me a lot when she was still alive, and I kind of like just fell back into that role. So like I said, I worked in a very fast-paced OR. They averaged, I think, like 75 to 80 cases a day. I mean, they were rocking and rolling. I mean, it was turning and burning, and that was on a slow average day. So, but yeah, a lot of good stories in the OR Biomed, and that's how I got to do that job in the OR Biomed. And again, it's just experience. It's like being part of the team in the OR.
Right.
It's unlike any other position at Biomed is besides being OR Biomed. I loved it. It's one of the best positions I've ever had besides owning my own company, and I still enjoy it to this day.
So basically, you would get to work every day, scrub in.
Oh yeah.
And you would basically be sitting in a place with 32 ORs and just wait for some to call and say, hey, we need you down here.
Yeah, so our position was a little bit different than the average biomed. We were kind of like, I got to know the kind of things I did. I wasn't the typical biomed. We were operational setup biomed. We got to start up anesthesia machines besides just doing testing. We would be involved in a lot of the purchasing, a lot of those different things that a lot of biomeds don't get involved in the OR. So for me, I got involved in a lot of different projects, OR renovations, meeting a lot of vendors coming in, trialing a lot of equipment, smoozing doctors. The vendors would come in. So I got to meet all these surgeons. I got to meet the president one time. I got to meet a lot of different famous people coming in because, it was the flagship. So it was very exciting when the prime minister from overseas would come in town, we'd go on call. When the president came in town, we'd go on call. So, to be part of that team was very exciting back in the day.
Right. And now that position actually led you to lead a biomed team for a heart hospital that opened later. Do you want to just go into a little detail on that?
So I was called back after I was working for Olympus Endoscopy, and I built actually Mercy Bon Secours Harborview Medical Center out in Suffolk, Virginia. It's a freestanding mini hospital. So they started out with their outpatient surgery center. So I built that. I got called to offer a job to build the heart hospital, be part of the team. So I got to hire my own team, own staff of 5 biomeds, engineers coming in, working with contractors, working with trial and equipment. So that was a very long 2.5, almost 3-year project from design to finish. So that's where I learned a lot of my expertise I got now, because I had no choice. I had to learn. So they brought me in, they asked me to come back, and we hired a team of experts that are still good friends of mine, and many are still local biomeds here that are running hospitals. Some have moved on, some are running hospitals locally here. So it was a very rewarding job to see it from start to finish, where most biomeds come in, hospitals already built. I got to actually build one from start to finish, and that's why I love building hospitals around the world and doing things, getting involved with other countries, other biomeds at different locations, because that's a lot of experience. Most biomeds don't get to work in the OR, where I was actually in the OR all day working. So it was different for me. Right.
Now, you skipped over this very briefly, and we don't have to go into too much detail, but you did pick up a job and worked for Olympus, and then got trained in endoscopy scope repair. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I got offered a job at Sentara. So Sentara was one of the first hospitals in the country to have actually an Olympus repair center inside the hospital. Many people don't know that, but I was asked to work with Olympus. It was actually an honor to work with them. Some guys from San Jose flew in. A good friend of mine named Cliff Eckert was a sales rep for Olympus, and they wanted to be the first in the country to actually have an in-house biomed repair center ran by Olympus. And I'd actually worked for Olympus, but I serviced in Sentara and also the other locals. So I got to fix endoscopes, go for long endoscope repair training for 16 weeks. I got to run inspection teams. I got to break scopes down from scratch to rebuild them up. So I ran a territory here from Charlottesville down to Richmond to Virginia Beach. And it was a one-man show, and I loved it. It was probably one of the best jobs I ever had. It was very exciting, very fast-paced when endoscopy started exploding back in the early 90s. We opened up, I think, 36 offices in the state of Virginia. It was one of the fastest growing territories. So again, I got a lot of installation experience, contract experience, doctor experience. So again, my background was very broad compared to the average biomed. So again, I was just in the right time at the right place.
Right, which is awesome. So now we're going to get to my favorite part. We're going to talk about some of the stories from the OR, because I know a couple of them, but you just were bringing up a couple I don't think I've heard before. So you got to give us like 2 or 3 of the best stories of just stuff.
I'll make it short.
Yeah.
I'll make it short. Probably one of the most nerve-wracking stories was a failed anesthesia machine, open heart surgery. You know, it was room 18. I still remember to the day like it was yesterday. You know, I was probably not even there a month and a half. And I remember Cindy was off, and I was there with my buddy Wade, who was, I was like his Padawan, as you look back in the Star Wars days, most guys know that there. So, and we were just walking down the hall in the morning, everything was going good, and the anesthesia machine just fails. And, you know, you get that call, it's like that, and you hear something like that, hey, John, Wade, I need you to, you know, room 18 stat, like right away, you know, problem with the anesthesia machine, our pagers are going off, you know, the walkie-talkies are going off, you know, the overhead's going off. We go in there, it just died. And, you know, we looked at that machine this morning, it was perfect operational. So we had to do an anesthesia swap out, you know, in an open heart case after they were already started about 2 hours into the case. That's probably one of the most craziest times. I mean, it had so many wires, cables, you know, infusion, perfusion machine, dialysis machine, so many different things going on, anesthesia, you know, had so many people in the room, and it was very, very nerve-wracking, very scary, but everybody did their job, you know, and it's probably one of those things that most people don't get to do, but your adrenaline rush is so high, you know, it really shows your, you know, your training that we have to go through, especially me with the military training and helicopter training and my biomed experience with so many different things. But, you know, those kind of things are very, those make or break you, you know, and it's important because you got people's lives in your hands. And, you know, and again, that's just one story. There's stories like any biomed being called to a room where most biomeds would get called to the room. They were just waiting for the equipment to come out of the room, where we were inside the OR. We're part of the team. They expected us to fix things on the spot, from OR tables being down in the middle of cases where I'm hitting foot switches, plugging stuff back in, hydraulic leaks on the floor. I've had dialysis machines in during an open heart case fail where the air bloodline sensor, where I'm holding my finger in there to get it to run for they can pump blood back into the patient. I mean, everything from facelifts to equipment dies to where lasers are failing. You know, many people think that OR equipment just lasts forever, but it's like any piece of equipment. It gets moved, it gets abused, and, you know, it takes a lot of work to maintain it. So, you know, but those are some crazy times where, you know, power goes out. I still remember Y2K, year 2000, when everybody was doing that there, and we were on call till midnight that night, and probably about 12 pieces of equipment didn't reset time. But to that, back in almost 23 years ago now, you know, that was a big deal, you know, Y2K. You know, you think about that far back, but was still stickers today that I saw probably 5 or 6 years ago, still coming out of the hospital with my initials on them, of the Y2K stickers with red. So it makes you realize how old you're getting, how time is flashing by. And, you know, really, I got to work with probably some of the best biomeds. The Virginia Biomed Association here locally, big supportive of them. We back them any chance we get. We have conferences here. We open up our facility, 70,000 square feet, to them to do walkthroughs, training, if they can use our training center, our conference room, our facilities, because we are in Virginia Beach, great location to be in. But, you know, the OR Biomed life is definitely a crazy life, for sure. But I would not change it for anything. If I ever tell anybody you want to be an OR Biomed, go for it. You'll be one of the most rewarding areas in biomed field.
That's super exciting. What a great story. What a great background. And, you know, we're starting up this new channel now where we're going to start featuring that so people can kind of get to know other people in the industry. A lot of people we talk to, and, you know, we're on the phone quite a bit, but now we actually have the ability to really get to know them a little bit better on a more personal level. So I greatly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, John. Thank you.
Yep.